Okay, welcome to another edition of the Above the Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus. Um, Want to shout out our sponsors. First, we have Defend Hawaii. If you go to their website, defendhawaii.com, go check out what they have. They have some new stuff for fall. They're also getting ready for their winter drops, so go check them out. Also, they have a store at No One. Go check them out, defendhawaii.com. Use promo code ATBPOD upon checkout. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Next, we have iRep Detail Supply. They have a full-on layout in Temple Valley Shopping Center. Anything you need to detail your car, make it looking brand new, smelling nice. Go check them out. iRepDetailSupply.com. Promo code ATBPOD upon checkout, and you'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Next, we have Hawaii Candy Factory, and you see their stuff everywhere. It's the Nam's packaging. Go check them out. My favorite is the Lihimui Lemon Peel Peach Rings. That's my favorite. They have a bunch of crazy different snacks. Good for snacking, for your munchies. Comes in those little cute packages that says Noms on it. You see it everywhere, but go to hawaiicandyfactory.com, promo code ATBPOD upon checkout. You'll receive 10% off your entire purchase order. Last but not least, we have our mushroom company, and they sponsor me. They're our newest sponsors, and they're a locally grown Hawaii mushroom company. They're called Medicinal Mushrooms Hawaii. And if you go on their website, medmushroomhigh.com, use promo code ATBPOD, all capitals, upon checkout, you'll receive 45% off your first purchase. And they have what they call lion's mane and chaga. And these are mushrooms. If you don't know what lion's mane does, it's known to increase energy, focus, memory, and improve your mood. I've been taking this stuff. And also the chaga, which is known to boost your immune system, fight inflammation, and balance your gut health. These tinctures, go check them out. I put 3 drops of each under my tongue or in my coffee every morning, and it's been beneficial to me, and I've been taking this stuff religiously. So go check them out one more time. It's medmushroomhigh.com, promo code ATBPOD, all capitals, upon checkout, and you'll receive 45% off your entire purchase order. Aloha. All right, this week, my guest for today's show is the owner of the Collective Barbershop, and they got some new stuff cooking and about to do something big in this week. Kowa, what's up, brother?
What's up, bro? How you doing? How you doing?
Hey, thank you for coming on. I know you guys are busy this week. You guys got something coming up big. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But how you been, man? How's your shop been going?
Man, first of all, just thank you so much, bro, for this opportunity and for allowing me to be on your space and just sharing our story and sharing what we're doing. We've been doing really good. Business has been running very, very nicely as of lately. So I can't complain. We're very blessed, and we just want to continue that blessing and also share that blessing too. So that's kind of with all the direction that we're moving in, and just the light that we're trying to shine now is more so leading into how can we help people around us, as well as to progress and move on within our industry too. So yeah, we've been very blessed and can't complain right now. It's been awesome.
Right on. So you're a barber, and I always wondered like how people get into that. I go to Ryan at the Parlor, and he's somebody I knew for a long time, and he's fire, and the vibe in his shop is next level. It feels like family. You get some guys there that are 49er fans, so I can relate to them. As soon as I go in there, we talk story, and it is something I've never experienced. I only went like super cuts or like that kind of stuff, and like I drive all the way out to Kapolei just to catch that vibe. I live Kaneohe, so it's like it's cool. But how did you get into this?
Yeah, so it's actually that's actually a really crazy story too, because Ryan is actually the first Ryan from the party, that's the first barbershop I actually started working at 18 years old. And so I've known Ryan since I started this career and since I started really getting into the professional side of cutting hair, going to school. And Ryan actually picked me up when I was still in hair school. So I was only working there 1 day a week. At that time, I was working 3 jobs, and that was one of those jobs, just trying to earn my keep there. And, like you said, the environment and the culture that they have at the Parlor is everything that has been the foundation for our shop here at the Collective. And all we wanted to be really was just an extension of the Parlor because of all the values that Ryan and Ria have brought into their business, and what they've taught us there has just been a true testament to not just who they are as people, but also their success as a business. And so, yeah, that was kind of my start there. Was very blessed to be in a safe place to learn, grow, and develop in. And all they've ever done for me was just giving me a platform to succeed on, and just going there and do as good as I can. And honestly, like, it's very rare that you find people in your life that can give you that opportunity, let alone stand by that and stand by their values. So that's kind of the when I started going in a more professional side. But what got me into cutting hair was that I actually come from a family of 8. And so and we don't come from money. So that just meant, like, as far as nice haircuts, getting nice things, and just I say like monetary things, we didn't really have that growing up. And so I knew that, I knew we didn't, at that time, I was just getting the cheapest haircut you could find. That's where my mom was taking me to. And, it wasn't like anything I could complain about, because it was like, just be grateful we got a haircut. So,
Yeah.
I never complained growing up, but my mom always taught us, like, if it's something that you can't afford, at least learn how to do it, or learn how to do something that you can make money off of, and therefore you can go ahead and afford what you're trying to get. And so I knew that I couldn't afford nice haircuts at that time. And if there's anything that I could do, I could just at least learn how to cut hair, and hopefully I could bless my siblings, bless my friends around me, and maybe even bless myself with a haircut. Who knows? So that's how it started, right? Like, yeah, bro, I used to look at my friends that got nice haircuts, like, man, I wonder what that's like. Like, a nice haircut. I couldn't relate. So yeah, that's what got me into it. And honestly, I did good in school, so I did really good in high school. And becoming a barber was never part of the plans. In fact, I had a lot of people come against me when I decided to go to hair school instead of pursuing college. And yeah, it's just to me at that time, it was really about mainly just getting around the right people, the right association. And so from 18 years old, I got myself around people that I highly respected, and that had results that I wanted in life, that not necessarily everybody that was giving me advice had in. And so that was kind of the direction I headed in. And barbering kind of just came up as a way to create a means to an end, and really just allowed me to kind of like fulfill my value system, and I also bless my value system as well. So that's what kind of triggered that like direction of barbering. Then taking it professional was just really just looking at the potential and what could happen in this industry. And yeah, so when I got into barbering, it wasn't the most like flashy kind of job. Like,
Yeah.
at that time, haircuts were still $10, and Supercuts was the name in Hawaii. It wasn't like
Yeah.
our names now are like, yeah, it's cool to see. Like, I love seeing local people, local businesses succeed. But at that time, it was kind of hard to find a barber. So it wasn't the most flashy job. And so when I decided to go down that route, I got a lot of friction with that, and a lot of maybe some resentment from people.
Well, like
But
from your family.
yeah, just people I loved and respect, honestly, like, and that's where I kind of like being around the right people really helped me out, because, growing up out here, it's like, right, you're not gonna be a part of what I got, then get out, like, that's kind of
Yeah.
mindset I grew up with. But the people that I was around just like allowed me to understand that, just because people don't necessarily agree with what you're doing doesn't mean that they don't love you. In fact, it just
Yeah.
means that they love you and they're just worried about you, they're concerned. And so I had to understand that at an early age that these guys didn't have anything against me. It was just they didn't want me to feel like I was making a mistake or regretting a decision in the future. Yeah, so that kind of like prepared me to like take on this weight of a mountain on my shoulders to do what I felt like was right in my heart, and then also still like show love to the people that were telling me that I was making a mistake. So it was a hard divide, but at the end of the day, I knew that I was making the decision for myself, and whether or not that succeeded or not, at least I can accept the fact that I made that. I was the one that decided to do what I wanted, and
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so that's what we have today now.
That's
Yeah.
super cool. What hair school did you go to?
So I went to Hawaii Institute of Hair Design. They're actually the only barbering school on the islands right now. So that's like the
Okay.
option that everybody mostly goes to. At that time, there's Paul Mitchell, Paul Brown was closing down, and HIHC, Hawaii Institute of Hair Design was the option for that I went with at the
Where's
time.
that
Yeah.
in Honolulu?
Yep. So that's in downtown Chinatown. I believe they're, if I'm not mistaken, they're one of the last hair schools. There's a new hair school that just opened up, but that's because Paul Mitchell shut down. And so now there's
Oh.
only two schools on the island. Yeah, but in town.
So when you went to the hair school, you learned to do like men's cuts or women's cuts or like color, like the whole spiel.
Yeah,
Oh,
so hair school is
nice.
pretty interesting. Hair school out here is so what most people don't understand the difference between like a hairstylist and a barber. The only thing that really is a difference is that we all do like barbering is controlled by everything above the neck. So we can do makeup, we can get lashes, lash certifications, we can do
Oh,
hair
wow.
coloring, we can do women's hair, all different types of service as long as it's above the neck. And so cosmetology is like head to toe, like nails, you're looking at like extraction, whatever that is. So that's the only real separator. So not like pretty much like we're able to do exactly what a hairstylist can. We just can't do nails. So yeah, barber school, you learn everything. You learn woman haircuts, you learn keratin treatments, you learn all the different things that are outside of just cutting hair and being a barber. So it's pretty
Oh,
crazy.
how long is the curriculum?
So for HIHC, it's a Hawaii Institute of Hair Design. It's a tech school, and I believe it's a 10-month program. It's supposed to be, but it's like a job. So it's a 9 to 5, and you pretty much
Mm.
decide like your hours. How often you show up is pretty much goes towards your 1,500 barbering hours, your school hours that you're allowed to graduate at. So the way I did it was at that time I wasn't receiving too much financial help through hair school, and so I was working a lot. I was working 3 jobs, but I knew that the longer I was there, the more I would have to work part-time jobs to suffice.
Yeah.
So what I ended up
What
doing,
jobs? Wait, sorry. What jobs were you also working?
oh man, so yeah, I was doing whatever I had to survive out here, you know. And so that was actually a big reason too, like making that decision to pursue hair. Yeah, like I say, I had a lot of resentment from family, but really it was more so I just knew that like if I could like make no excuse for it and just take on all my responsibilities as like just living, like rent, phone bill, whatever it is, like if I can take ownership over that, then people have less of a say in what I do because they
Yeah.
have no financial attachment, right? So yeah, so for me, I understood that, but that also meant that like, okay, I'm an 18-year-old kid, I have no job experience, I've not been legal enough to serve liquor, so I can't be a bartender. There's all things that started coming up. Like, what can I do to make my ends meet and also fund like my vision and what I was trying to do? So I was working 3 jobs at that time. I was lifeguarding part-time. So I was
Oh,
working sitting
nice.
down, I was lifeguarding the swimming pools. And then I was working at Ross part-time. That
At
was only
where?
because at Ross Just for Less.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Yeah, yeah, they're down the street. So I was like, hey, like that was actually my first job getting out of high school. And then I was working at the Parlor one day a week, about 6 months into hair school, or about 4 months into hair school. So
Okay.
yeah, those,
So how did you meet Ryan from the parlor?
yeah, so that's even crazier story. So hair school, there is this guy named Gabe, and Gabe actually owns a shop in Vegas now, and so he's one of our really close friends in Vegas, at a shop owner up there too that we connect with. But Gabe was actually a senior when I was a freshman in hair school, and so pretty much
Okay.
how it works is like you get a chance to like be on the salon floor and do actual live services, and so in hair school, like just a lot of at that time there's just a lot of the Eagles, there's a lot of people
Mm.
with they just kind of separate themselves based on like how good they were. And so I was really bad. I sucked at cutting hair. So I didn't go into this career field amazingly talented or gifted. So yeah, I just kind of stayed in my own lane. But Gabe was one of those guys that like he was so talented, so good, and he just kind of just kept to his own too. He didn't really want to show off. He wasn't flashy. And but I would always watch him. I'd always watch him do these amazing haircuts. And I'm like, man, who is that guy that I keep seeing these guys come back with nice haircuts? I'm like, who's working back there? Like, who is that? So I ended up getting to know him. Yeah. And I was just like, I just asked him, can I cut next to you? Like, can I work next to you? And he's like, yeah, bro, like, I'm not gonna say who can, who cannot. And I was like, all right, awesome. So anytime I had an opportunity to do so, I made it a point to like get around him and kind of just watch him and just like see what he does. And what ended up happening was when he graduated school and started working in the parlor, I took on one of his clients and I had posted his haircut on my page, and Gabe was like, "Hey, bro, that's an awesome haircut. You did amazing." And I was like, "Oh man, thank you so much." I was nervous because it was his client, And so that's
Oh,
something
I
he's
see.
like, yeah, I was like, oh man, bro, I didn't want to mess him up. I know he goes to you. He was so cool. He was like, nah, bro, you did amazing. Like, don't even worry about that. And then he asked me, like, hey, if you don't have a shop in mind yet, or if you're not working at a shop, I'm gonna ask Ryan if we can bring you in. Because Ryan was looking for barbers at that time. And so I was one of those guys that I didn't believe in myself yet. I wasn't confident in my skill set. I knew I had a lot to work on, and that's why I was like really focusing in school to work on those things. Entering a shop realm, I wasn't even ready for it. I honestly told Gabe like, okay, yeah, bro, that's cool, but maybe when I get closer to graduation. And the Gabe's like, no, bro, I told Ryan already. I'm like, oh man, yeah, okay, so so Ryan ended up messaging me, and then he said like, hey, when you're free, let's meet up. And I was like, okay, sounds good, bro. Like, and that's how I ended up at the party, was through old hair school classmate. Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. And how long have you worked at the parlor?
So I worked at the party for I believe it was around 5 years, or going on 5 years
Oh,
before opening
wow.
the Collective. Yeah, so I believed in the party. When we opened up the first time, I remember our first couple of months there, the neighborhood was still being developed. So the party is
Yeah.
based in a neighborhood setting. Like I mean, you get a haircut there, so you
Yeah.
know. where- But when we first opened, it was actually still in construction. So everything across the street from our shop was all just dirt and like bulldozers, construction workers. Yeah, it was crazy. So like I remember when I first got there, I was like, man, nobody even knew where we were. Like we're so far in the cut that like people, it was slow. And so when um when Ryan had talked to us about like, the vision of the parlor, being a neighborhood barbershop, being a staple in the Hawaii community, and just staying true to, who we are as people, not trying to be overly, putting on our stuff on other people, but still being able to welcome just anybody. I just believed in him. I just believed in the vision, and I caught that early on. And so I told Ryan, like, bro, like, no matter what, like, I'm gonna be here for the long run. Like, I want to be able to make the parlor the best standard in Hawaii, the shop that people talk about. And so that's kind of like what kept me in locked in so long. And like I said, like them as people, them as business owners are probably the most just genuine people you would meet. And with that, that just allowed me to stay there longer and just keep investing into that. And they investing to me as well. So yeah, it was an amazing partnership when we were there.
Yeah, and like I said, the vibe there is different. I drive out there all the time just to get my hair cut, and I knew Ryan for a while, and his energy is infectious, and he has
Mhm.
that hustler's mentality, but with aloha. And what kind of tripped me out was when he kind of explained to me about you, how you used to work for him, and you created your own shop.
Mhm.
And for some people, they could think of that as competition, or like, oh, how's this guy? I put him on, and now he can do his own
Yeah.
thing. And but from what he explained to me, and I want to hear your take on it, was it was so supportive, and he was stoked for you, and he felt like he helped somebody else accomplish a vision, goal, dream that he kind of shared as well. And what was the vibe when you told him like, hey man, I'm thinking about doing this, and how did that come about for you to open your own spot?
Oh man, that was probably the hardest conversation I've ever had to have in my life.
But you're kind of thinking about it for a while.
Oh man, I got anxiety thinking about that conversation. And it just at the same time, it's also like how do you tell somebody that has given you everything, like, all right, thank you for what you've done, but I'm gonna go do my own thing. Like the way my upbringing too is always like, don't ever like bite the hand that feeds you, and to
Yeah.
always like just remember, like, if someone did something for you, then you do more and you give more. And so I just yeah, the conversation came up, and it had to at some point. I knew it was gonna come at some point. I just didn't know exactly when. And when it did, it was like it was now or never. And so that was kind of I didn't want to tell Ryan until I knew for sure that like this is gonna happen. And if it was just like a if, then I had no reason to leave. I had no animosity, no bad blood, no bad intention. And so yeah, like I said, I've only been loved there. So it was so hard for me to even like muster up the courage to be like, Brad, I love you, but I'm gonna go do my own thing. And so what was awesome about Ryan and Rhea, and what has always kept me loyal to them, was that my first ever time sitting down with him for my interview 5 years, or now going on 7 years ago, was Ryan just told me like straight up, like, what are your goals in this career field? What are your goals in the industry? And then at the end of I told him everything I wanted to do. I told him my route, kind of what I had envisioned in the next 10 years. And Ryan was like, at the end of the day, like all he wanted to be was, how can I help you get there? And so he knew, at some point that was gonna happen. But we talk to people all the time and they like say like, oh, I got you, bro. Yeah, like, but when you're leaving somebody, especially from a financial standpoint, like I'm leaving their business and taking business, just the clientele I built up over there. And so it was like, how do you still love somebody and encourage them to leave and leave with business? It's, just business standpoint, it makes no sense. It's almost like it's hard not to feel some type of way. And
Yeah.
so with Ryan, that was like, it was so hard to have that conversation, was because I was afraid that we wouldn't be as close as we are today. And like you see, when we first started, like they were here, we had
Yeah.
our meeting. So yeah, like things say true and true. And the reason why was because and that's what I always say, like, and my boys know this over here, is that their heart and who they are as people is so much greater and deeper than them as a business owner. Like being a business owner is just an ability for them to pursue and fulfill their dreams and what they want to create, but also allow them to do what they've always wanted to do. And that was for Ryan and Rio, is always to give back and help other people catch that vision and take care of their family. And so that's why at the end of the day, I told Ryan, we had that conversation, and man to man, yeah, it was a super emotional conversation. Both crying, it was just like years of just loyalty, years of trust and belief. And at that time, Ryan was just like, as much as it hurts me, I couldn't be more proud to see you moving on. I couldn't be more proud to see you accomplish that. And oh yeah, I get emotional now, because it's like, man, that was a big brother to me my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, time I got into this field, and like I said, I only had a handful of people that believed in me being successful in this industry. So Rhino was one of those guys that from the very beginning knew that, man, you're gonna do something great one day, and I just want to be here to support you doing that. And so yeah, to this day, I give all the credit to him, and I never take credit for what we've created here. What we created, the collective, was honestly just, like I said, the association I got around since I was 18 years old. Those are the ones that I give all the credit to for what we have today. Because without that, I wouldn't have any direction. I would be a lot more lost and not knowing what I would want to do. And those guys kind of gave me direction and where I was headed.
Well, it
Yeah.
seems like Ryan's a good mentor, and it kind
Mhm.
of, with your mentality and your hustle and your ambition, kind of matched his own culture as well. So it sounds like a perfect situation, and I'm sure he was bummed that you left, just because it's like, if you have a best friend that you see every day and talk story with and have fun, and then he's gone, then it's kind of a little bit of void. And I know how it is in his shop. It's so much fun to be there, and it's
Mhm.
like, I wish my haircut would take longer. I talk story to
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah. And
Yep.
because you went to venture out and do your own thing, how did your shop come to fruition? How do you open it? How do you even start to open a shop and get people to come and market it and kind of build it from nothing? I know you had a clientele base, but you had to find employees. You had to
Mhm.
figure it out, man. How did it all work out?
Yep. So that's something that my team here is very well aware of now, especially because I got a lot of new guys that just starting in the industry, or maybe I've been around for some time but haven't really established like a professional standpoint in it. And so my biggest blessing, like I was saying, was with my association since 18. I've always been around professionals, and so in that environment, I learned how to like start my LLC. I learned how to, be structure my business early on before I was even 21 years old. So by the time I was 21 years old, I was already locked into, I was building out my savings, I was building out my funds, my floats. And so by the time I believe I started planning out this shop around 23 years old. And to be completely honest, that was just because my CPA was like, she thought I owned this shop. And I was like, no, I don't own a barbershop. It was just out. That's also how, I had an amazing position at the Parlor. I had an
Yeah.
amazing opportunity there because, yeah, the just how I was running the numbers and how things are working. It was I was very ambitious too at that time. So I felt like, as long as I can maintain the work ethic behind that, something great's gonna happen. So I just kept feeding that vision for myself to continue to do that. But I was such around such a positive environment. It was like it was hard not to do that because everybody just kept saying like, just keep going. Like you did this thing, why don't you learn something new, or why don't you get into this? Like it was very much just being around such supportive system that yeah, I learned how to kind of structure the business at such a, let's say, since 18 years old. Therefore, by the time I was 23, I already had everything lined up as far as like, what do I need to do? What do I need to get done? And that's also where I say, like, with Ryan and Ria, they had been, when I say they've been a huge support for me, it's more than like, oh, yeah, good job. Like, we wish you the best. Like, when I told
Yeah.
them I was opening up the shop, they're like, well, you're going to need to figure out, like, how are you going to write your contracts? How are you going to, your lease language, your lease agreements, just business standard procedure that I wasn't aware of at that time at my age group. So just
Yeah.
being in a new realm of things, it was like, yeah, I had a lot of important questions that I need to get answered. And I was very fortunate that my group was well aware and was well informed, well experienced. And then I also had Ryan and Ria to help me and guide me in this specific industry. Because all my friends are successful in other industries, but with barbering, it's very strategic on how you have to approach, especially with hiring. Because we don't
Oh yeah.
necessarily run employees, we run contractors. And so the language is different. Yeah. So Ryan and Ria have been a huge help in like establishing that as part of things too. But I think my biggest saving grace was just being able to structure myself properly at an early age, and then
Yeah.
being able to start planning things out and being a professional in the industry. I always say there's a difference between barbering. There's guys that cut hair, and there's guys that cut hair professionally. And so when I think about someone that cuts hair, I think about someone that cuts hair, gets money, and then goes hold, does whatever with it, spends it whatever. And then I think about a professional that treats it like a lifestyle. So they cut hair and they invest, or they save, or they plan. And so when I think about like how I want to create my boys here was like give them a professional platform to stand on. And so with that, that's kind of what my clientele was, the reasons why we have things built. Like our contractor that built the shop was through one of my weekly clientele that
Oh wow.
um connected me to his friend, who his friend was a GC with the umbrella that we needed to sign with our property. And so all the little things like that. Like my best friend is my best friend is my realtor. And so he not only helps us with our house, but he helps us do the lease language for the shop. He helps us secure the shop. His mom is my CPA. And so
Oh
that's where
wow.
like network starts to build. Yeah, a strong network it's about who you know in Hawaii. It's not about what you know. So I knew that I didn't know anything. So that simple fact, I was like, right, I know I can't do this on my own. So I'm very much able to put myself in a position where I can humble myself and ask for help or ask questions. I'm not one to think that I can do it all on my own. And so that was my biggest saving grace, because I have so much loving people around me that just wanted to help out or wanted to support, and they're willing to help me in any way that looked like. And being younger in the industry is it's also when you're negotiating for a lease spot, especially in a commercial space, man, I tell you what, the what they tell you is pretty crazy. Like I was like, man, I've been a professional for 5 years prior to even looking to open. And so all the questions that they had, I was able to give them like backing to. I was able to answer those questions. But the one thing I couldn't answer for them was they looked at me as a liability with my age. And so as far as property management, leasing agencies, like they're looking at like, if we take this business on, are they going to fail within the first month or first 6 months? They're looking at it more so as liability. So
Yeah.
being younger, it was harder to negotiate. It was harder to even just contact and get a email back or a message back. And especially because we didn't do this with any investors. And so this entire shop was built out personally, just saving, funding. I didn't want to ask for financial help from anybody. I think that was the one thing I didn't want to put that burden on my family. I don't come from a rich family anyway, so it's not like I could ask really. There wasn't anyone that I could run to, but it was also too, I just didn't want to ask my friends and family to support me financially. I wanted to be able to do it. And whether it was that's why the shop, I always say, is not perfect, but it's built with a lot of love and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, because everything we have is put into this business. But I can also stand here and say that, I don't have to ask for permission from anybody. We can run and operate how we want to. And I did that specifically because I didn't want to have people signing checks for me. I want to be the one, whether it was perfect or not. I knew it wasn't going to be beautiful, but we could get it done. So That was kind of the startup to opening up a business and how that whole thing went. But yeah, like I said, it just comes back to my circle and the people that was around me.
Yeah, and I found out through people in May you had your 1 year anniversary. So that already kind of shut up the people that anybody didn't believe in you, right? It's like business usually fails within the first year. So if you made it to your first year and you're still increasing, like props to you. Where is your shop even located?
Yep. So we're located at IA Shopping Center. We're in the second floor, same level as IA Pancake House and McDonald's.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. So
Yeah. So
do
making
you,
it here. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and congratulations to that. And yeah, I remember Ryan was telling me that while he was cutting my hair that he's going to your 1 year anniversary party, and Hoppa said he's gonna DJ or something. I don't know what he's gonna be
Yeah.
there. And uh, the way he talked about you and what you were doing and how you reached a year, right? You could tell he was proud. And that's just aloha, you know what I mean? And he was he was stoked for you. Um be, because you have contractors, you got a 1099 all your employees are there. So you're giving them opportunity to create their own business just in your shop.
Yes, absolutely. So that was yeah, making it a year was part of like a testament to just the grind, just putting in the work and also the people I have. Like my boys know the collective was designed to be a space where anybody from any background, no matter who you are, where you come from, like able to come in one place and collectively come together and succeed and grow together. And so my team and our boys here, like I give them all the credit for even making it to a year because it was hard, like being a young
Yeah.
business, no one's walking in trying to sign up and work for you. Like no one's waiting outside the door, like, oh, can I work at the collective? Like, yeah, it's a huge risk. Like they don't even know if we're gonna have clients walking in the door. So for the earliest stages, I have a set full of boys that like just believed in it, just everything I talked about, I was like, man, like it's gonna happen. These guys just believed early on that it is. And so since then we've been blessed to have that. But yeah, contracting and how that kind of looks like is pretty much is it's strategic too, because as a business, it just allows us to also the way it works is that you get paid based on the amount of services you complete and what your price points are. So in that example, it also allows you to determine how successful you want to be. And I only learned that because I was at the Parlor on a 1099 contract. And so I was operating as if I was a small business within a bigger business. And that allowed me to kind of establish myself and position myself financially to, if I wanted to make more money, then I better start promoting. I better start putting out discounts or giveaways, whatever it is. I learned how to market myself and put my name out there so that when it came back around, I knew that, okay, if I want to be busier, I gotta market better or I
Yeah.
gotta reach out to people. So that's the same thing with my boys here. Like I said, like everything I've learned from my years of experience within the Parlor and like just growing up in that environment is these boys have me 5 years advance. So they don't have to ask, like who do I go to for taxes or how do I structure a business or what services should I do? Like these boys have me at a time, and even then, like they educate me and teach me on things that I'm not aware of. And that was the vision behind the collective was that I knew that I might be good at one thing, but I'm not good at everything. And so I
Yeah.
got boys that are strong in certain areas that I'm working on still. So that was kind of the idea. I wanted to surround myself around guys that like are elevating me in areas that I'm trying to elevate in as well, and vice versa. Like the business side is simple to understand now, but when I first got in at 18 years old, I didn't even sign a W-2, let alone a 1099. So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know tax write-offs, right? I didn't know all these logistics. So now
And
my
they don't
team,
teach that stuff in high school or anything. Yeah.
yeah, they don't even teach regular taxes, let alone credit. So
Yeah. Credit.
yeah,
Yeah. They don't teach that.
that's man. Those are conversations. Those are everyday conversations we have here in our shop. Is how can I structure my boys? My goal for them is I want every single one of them to be the most successful person in their family, and so they can go ahead and bless their family. And with that, that was kind of like the mission. And so these guys know, like when we talk business, like if you keep up with us on social media and TikTok and all that, like we're goofy, we have fun. We're a bunch of guys, so it's a fun
Yeah.
shop. These boys also know when it comes to business, we get down to business too. I always said I don't ever want to be considered a child or I don't ever want to be considered young. I wanted people to, when they hear about us or when they work with us, they know they're coming into a professional standpoint, but we still can have fun, we can still enjoy
Yeah,
ourselves.
for
Yeah, just
sure.
structure more.
And that seems to be kind of the new culture of barbershops, especially here on the island. Like there's plenty of them popping up. And
Hmm.
it's kind of a cool thing. It kind of reminds me of getting tattooed. Like when you go in a tattoo shop, everybody's like down to see you, what they're going on, like talk story. It's just on a what monthly basis. You can like you're not getting tattooed every month, you know what I mean? But you get a
Yeah.
haircut every month, and it's becoming a culture. And honestly, for men and guys, it's something cool to look forward to, something cool where you can take a break from your stressful life and just talk story with some dudes and not have to
Absolutely.
worry about anything else. And it becomes a point where it becomes part of your lifestyle, and you guys provide that. You guys are probably therapists. You guys probably are
Yeah.
people that help people with their problems. You guys taking on all these different hats, and you don't even know you're doing it half the time.
Yeah. It's like a normal thing in the shop. I'm a big advocate for that because when I first started, I knew I wasn't good at cutting hair, but I knew I could be a good friend. It
Yeah,
doesn't cost anything to be a good person, be a nice guy. So I knew I wasn't good at my skill set, but if I could just at least establish a relationship with somebody, hopefully they come back. And
yeah,
as they get better, of course, that service, the end product gets better. But no matter what, that relationship and that connection with my client was always strong. And that's something that we talk about here all the time, is because I wanted our shop to be a space, even just our colors and our neutral tones. Like we wanted the shop to be a space where you can walk in and be like, oh, it's like a living room. Like, oh, it's like home. They don't have to
yeah,
put up a guard or put up a wall. Like I gotta act a certain way. Like, no, this is a safe place to bad. Like you said, like a lot of people come in here and we are all living lives. And us as men, we don't really have opportunities to talk about what we're going through or what we're thinking. And
yeah,
I've had some pretty heavy conversations with clients, and right, like these guys know me. I always wanted my clients to be like, oh yeah, my boy Cole cuts my hair. I didn't ever
yeah,
want to be like, I have a barber. I wanted to be like, no,
yeah,
my boy Cole cuts my hair. And I've always like took that with a grain of salt, with a lot of pride, because I knew that that was a special bond that I had with somebody, and that who knows where that leads. And that's why I always say, like, my clientele, like, man, they got me more than most people, more than most people's friends got them. I got guys
yeah.
that they see me outside, and if I was in trouble, that they're running in there, throwing, like they're ready. I got boys
Yeah,
doing that right now. So, I always say like that relationship is so powerful, but it's because we have a space where, our culture within our shop is so neutral that it's like, bro, like you can come in here, and if you're going through issues in life or if there's stuff that you're heavy thinking about, then we're able to talk about it. We're able to break it down. And, hopefully by the end of the haircut, we feel a little bit more better, like a
yeah,
little bit more weight off our shoulders. Cause yeah, a lot of times guys will hold it in and they don't talk about things. And that's why, the statistics nowadays, it's not too likely for us. And
yeah,
so we want to break that statistic, and we want to be able to give this space, give it a safe spot for people to, like, it doesn't make you any weaker to talk about your feelings. Like, in fact,
yeah,
it's more of a hammer to explain, like, it's been hard, and be
yeah,
real and vulnerable. So I don't ever treat that lightly. When my clients share me like stuff close to them, close to their heart, I always make sure that, I lower them back, and I just tell them, like, hey, like, you got this, brother. And next time I cut your hair, I want to update on what's going on. I want to know what's happening. Yeah. So it's
that's
a very,
cool, bro.
yeah, it's
So
cool culture.
most times guys just need somebody to listen, bro. You don't even have to give them all the answers. Sometimes they just gotta release out what they're feeling is to somebody that's neutral or unbiased or not in the mix of whatever they're dealing with, just to
Mhm.
talk on something that's like 90% of the
Mhm.
times that make you feel better, you know what I mean? And right,
Mhm.
it's becoming a culture. It's becoming something that's a lot of dudes are kind of being drawn to. It's like, oh yeah, going to the barbershop, going to see my boy cut my hair. And it's happening a lot because a lot of my friends go, a lot of my friends are doing that, when it used to be, oh, I'm going Fantastic Sam's or Supercuts. It's like,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
I rather go there and feel like
Mhm.
it's more of something different. How
Yeah.
many guys do you got working for you right now?
So right now we currently have eight, including myself.
Oh,
We
wow.
actually have one guy that's interning with us. He's staying with us for a month, kind of just learning our system, learning our culture, and then he'll be gone in a month. He's most likely going to be doing his own thing in Washington. And so
Okay.
it's crazy because I did a class in Oregon a couple of weeks ago, and after that class, he was in attendance. I didn't know he drove 3 hours to go to that class that I did up there.
Wow.
Yeah, so after the class, he reached out to me, just saying that like he just loved everything that I talked about because I talked more so about like our business, how we structured and what we kind of do within our shop. It wasn't my understanding that most shops don't have that safe place,
Yeah.
that safe environment. And so when it came to that idea, he was like, "Man, I wanted to." His family's from Nanakuli side, so he was like, "I'm going to be coming out to Hawaii for a month. I would love to just intern." And he's always like super respectful. He's like, "Oh, if that's okay with you, like." I'm like, yeah, bro, of course it's okay. Like, we aloha everybody. So it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, right now we're fully staffed at 8 chairs and hopefully looking to expand sometime soon too.
Nice.
That's
So
the
you've
goal.
been I did notice on your Instagram you gave a class in Oregon and you kind of been doing talks and stuff. Like, how does it feel to be teaching and to educate people on what you're doing? And how did you even get the courage to start doing that?
Yeah, it's funny because public speaking is probably my biggest fear. Right.
Boy, you seem
I
good at it, bro.
I know, and it's funny because people always tell me that, but I'm like, man, bro, like you don't have no idea how bad my hands are shaking when I'm standing in front of people. Like I have to like hide my hand or like that's why I move when I talk. I always move my hands because I'm shaking. I'm nervous. Like, but honestly, like I've always looked at it like, and it's something that I pray on to is like I always want to say like I hope that if I could impact one person in that room, that is my goal, and that's why I do it. It's because at the end of the day, like there's things that we talk about. Like if I were to do a class, like yeah, we're gonna talk about hair, we can talk about business, but at the end of the day, I'll tell them straight up, like you have to have something greater and deeper of an understanding of why you do what you do. Like it can't just be like oh to support my family, or it can't just be like oh to buy a car, get a new house. Like you got to understand really why it is what you do, because at the end of the day, I look at it like in our industry, guys get burnt out really fast because it's exciting and it's fast money. So there comes a certain point where you get really decent at your skill set and you get comfortable doing the same thing over and over again that you get good, but you're doing the same thing over and over again. So at some point, like you just get drained or burnt out and people end up leaving the industry or they end up like, who knows what they do. So I've always looked at it like you gotta be like fulfilled in what you do every day. So whether that's if that's teaching or if that's learning something new on the side of like not cutting hair, but just learning something new, like whatever it is, like you got to be fulfilled in what you do. And I'm a big advocate for that now. Specifically just losing close people in my life recently, like I've learned really fast that like, man, life is gonna happen. Life is gonna move. And if you're not happy, if you can't like I can know for sure, like but God forbid something happens to me tomorrow, like I can go away knowing that I did everything in my power to do what it is that fulfilled me. And so no
Yeah.
one can take it away from me. And that's power, right? Because if someone's telling you what to do and you're listening to what they're doing, I feel like a lot of especially kids, like when I'm in that age group where my friends are starting to realize that like, damn, I don't even know why I went to pursue this in college. I don't even know why I went down this career field. But if I were to ask them when they were kids, it's like, oh, my mom said this is something I should do, or my counselor, it's like, oh, it's always an outside influence telling them like, oh, you're good at this, you should be this, but they never really understood why they were doing it. And so now my questions from my friends are like, bro, like what should I do? Or I think I'm gonna go do this now. Like, and like we're getting older. So it's like as we get older, it's that decision starts to get a little harder. And I
Yeah.
always tell my friends now, like, but I don't care what you do. I just want you to be happy. Like if you can go home and smile and you can go home knowing that you did a good work, then that's what you should do. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about what people think you're doing. Like none of that outside opinion matters. It's about what you do in here in your heart.
Yeah.
That's where I stand now.
Well, seems
Yeah.
like it's a good philosophy, and if your boys and your staff had that same mentality, is kind of probably why you lasted a year and you're successful right now. I think
Mhm.
that sky's the limit, right? You haven't even touched the ceiling or even came close to it, right? It's that hustler mentality and the ability and confidence to bet on yourself, win or lose. And that's the kind of people I always have on my show. Those are the people that I get inspired or inspiration from, that's the kind of things that I've been doing my whole life. And win or lose,
Mhm.
bro, I've gambled on myself and crapped out a couple of times, you know what I
Yep.
mean? But I still
Mhm.
put everything on the line and roll the dice, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I got the balls to do it, and it seems like so do you, and you surrounded yourself with good people. Um you got some new things coming up, and this is something that really resonated with me when Ryan told me he was doing this with you. And just
Mhm.
the name of this brand alone, I already like it. I want to
Mhm.
hear I want to hear more about it, bro. What do you guys got going on?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a big advocate for just always remembering who helps you when you weren't anything, when you're still on that come up stage, when you're still on that hustler grind. Um, and so Ryan had always talked about this at the party where he wanted to do this event, a expo, a barber battle, whatever it was. Like people within our industry want to do something where like you can come to, and it's not like the everything or the every other kind of stuff that's been going on. It's more of like a safer place for just people to collaborate, network, and aloha each other, and just get along. Like and one thing that I've never understood, and this is something that's coming from a Hawaii industry and what we experienced in the past, just past experiences that we've had is, before a lot of times it was like barbershop versus barbershop or barber versus barber. And I never like at the parlor, we never were around that kind of stuff or never really had that situation just because we knew like at the end of the day, no matter how good or bad I cut hair or you cut hair, that doesn't change my paycheck. But no, how good I can cut hair, that will change my paycheck. And so I've always looked at it as like if someone's good at something, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I wonder how long they're going to be good, or I wonder, if they're even going to do anything with it. I've always looked at it like, man, they're good at that. Like I want to learn too, or I want to ask some questions, right? Like I want to get good at that too. And then maybe there's something that I'm good at that they want to take from. And so like what we've seen was just like, how come that is not the normal thing? Like growing up in Hawaii, like the one thing we know is like aloha, like the aloha spirit. And I think like that terminology gets overplayed so much that like we just say that, but we don't really follow through on it. Like most people like say that, but they're back, or they're talking about someone behind someone's back, or it's not reciprocated. So I've always known growing up, like we've grown up in such a safe and such a cool environment that like we know that we take care of the people around us. We take care of our family. We take care of our elders. We show respect to people that are older than us. And so, at what point did that kind of mentality kind of disappear within our industry? That should be the same thing that we take with us in every day. And so, what we wanted to do with ATG, a All Together group, the idea was to bring that to light, to incorporate our culture into what it is that we love to do, into our passions, into our work, into our career. Just take that same culture that we all come to love and know, that we've grown up with, and incorporate that into what we already do. And just imagine how successful we can be. And so this past year, we've been doing a lot of traveling. I'm kind of just putting myself more out there to get bigger companies in our industry to look at us in Hawaii and to bring them back to Hawaii. And so the issue that we've been having is that when we go travel, people don't even know that there's barbers and stylists in Hawaii, let alone talent. And so yeah, so we've been traveling so much this year, and that was my biggest thing traveling was like, no, like Hawaii is so talented and so gifted. And I really think the reason why is because one, it's expensive. So if you're not working, you're not living here, you're not gonna survive.
Yeah,
So you have
that
to
makes
be like,
sense.
yeah, you have to work hard, and working hard out here in our industry means that you're cutting hair as much as you can, or you're getting to other services, which also means that we live in such an open demographic state that we have people of all different ethnicities, which means that we're cutting different type of hair types, we're cutting different type of hairstyles. And so as a state, we're so talented, and we've always known that. But I felt like we've all just been crabs in a bucket. Every time someone's succeeding, we're trying to like pull them back down. Like, no, you can't be that good, or trying to talk them down already. But instead of that, we should be like monkeys in a barrel, just pushing everybody out. Like, yeah, get
Yeah.
out. Right? We're here to make a statement. We're here to showcase. And so, Aloha Together group was just like, we didn't want our names to be the precedent. Like, it's not a collective. It's not a Kiko Tudela. It's not a Ryan Uggan. It's not the party bar. We wanted it to be one company merging together, marrying each other to be on the same platform and then doing exactly what we said we wanted to do in Hawaii. And that was to put the culture on and to put our people on. And so just giving our people a different stage to stand on, that when these bigger companies start looking for maybe ambassadors, or maybe they're looking for sponsor representatives or educators, that now they're looking at Hawaii as one of the stopping grounds. Like, this is a hair mecca. You know, when people think about us, I don't want them to think about, oh yeah, it's bad, it's nice beaches and Mai Tais. Like, I want them to think like, oh, I got to get my hair cut there. And it doesn't matter what barbershop, what salon you go to, what barber, what size you go to. They just know like Hawaii is nothing but talent, and no matter where you go, you're gonna get taken care of. And so our mission is to break down those walls, break down those egos, that status, those titles. There's none of that here. We wanted to create a safe place for people to come and just feel the aloha, just aloha each other, and really put on for each other, collaborate. And that has nothing to do with us. Like, we always tell people, like, you don't have to, in order to work with him, you don't have to go through us first. Like, we wanted our event to be like, you guys go talk to each other on the side, like, you guys go set up your thing, you know, and maybe they do an event that we attend. And so who knows where that leads, but we never wanted to just take the credit for everything. There was a need in Hawaii, and someone needs to meet that need. And whoever that was, it didn't matter, but at least we know that, like, if we're going to follow through on this, we're going to do as much as we can to make it successful. We just need people to know that this is just a safe place to be. And that's the mindset we're trying to share. And that's why we've been doing so much and investing so much time and energy into this mission. And on November 12th, we're hosting our ATG Hair and Lifestyle Expo. So ideally, we didn't want to just keep it to the hair industry. We wanted to make this a whole entire lifestyle, where one day our event is going to be 1,000+ vendors of local businesses, local people, and we're going to have people flying in from all over the world. We have all the local community coming together, and it's just going to be a place where people are like just putting on for each other and keeping Hawaii in Hawaii. That was the main thing. We just started seeing, within the last 3 years, we've seen so many of our friends and family leave the island. It's getting too expensive. Real estate's rising, inflation's rising, and people aren't just able to make their ends meet nowadays. And the only way we're going to do something, the only way we're going to change that is if we do something about it. And so that's what ATG's mission is to do something about that and to break down whatever stigmas there are, and just make it a safe place.
That's just, Brad, I'm lost for words. For one, I love the name Aloha Together Group. That's something I live by. And I say this on my podcast all the time. It's something I tell my friends. A rising tide floats all boats. So it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to put anybody down or put anybody, like, is if I can do good and be the example and help, it's not going to take anything away from me. It'll just help you, and it'll help all of us. And if you can get the whole tide to bring everybody up, why wouldn't you? And that's basically what Aloha is. And your guys' mindset is the same, right? You're not trying to be better than anybody. You're not trying to be worse than anybody. You're just trying to be your best version of yourself and hope that helps other people be the best version of themselves. And for me, that's very attractive. I'm drawn to that kind of stuff. And Brad, you guys have an event going. It's going to be this week on the 12th, right?
Yep, November 12th.
Okay, what's happening on November 12th, and where is it going to be at?
Yeah, so Sunday, November 12th is going to be at Maui Waikiki International Marketplace. It's going to be our first ever ATG Hair and Lifestyle Expo. So what's kind of the breakdown of this? What to expect is pretty much it's from 2 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. We're going to be doing hair competitions back to back. We're going to have 14 or 17 local vendors. And then we also have just like live showcase talent, which is coming in from the mainland as well. Just things that, like, what we wanted to really do is just create, like I said, like our expo, and our goal is to really just bring community, bring people together. And so with the hair competitions, it's not really a competition. It's really an opportunity to go ahead and showcase your skill set and talent, but to also get your name out there. And so the idea is that this event, based on how we're marketing it, based on how we're bringing important names out to Hawaii to see this, is really to give our local people a chance to be put on a stage where their name is shown for the first time. Or maybe they've been on stages before, but now they actually have a precedent being able to put their name in the place that they live in. that they've grown up in. And so we want these guys to be able to get an opportunity to get showcased, and hopefully that leads to bigger opportunities on the road for them, whatever that looks like. But for local businesses, we want to have local vendors who specifically to put on for just a entrepreneurship grind. That's what Hawaii is right now, right? Like everyone's
Yeah.
trying to figure out what business can I start up, what can I get into, and so we want it to be the foundation spot for any business startup or even just any longevity business to come in, and they can be a sponsor, they can be a vendor, whatever it is for them. We wanted them to come in and also just go ahead and showcase their business, and hopefully that brings more eyes for them as well. So the idea is really just what can we do to create a stage for our people to shine on? Like that's overall, that's ATG's mission, is give these guys, give everybody a safe place to grow and connect, but to also give them a place that they can stand up on and showcase what they're doing, and showcase the hard work that they're putting in, especially living out here. We all know what it's like to survive, let alone to thrive. So we're trying to get people from survival to thriving in life, whatever that space looks like. And if we can be a little bit help in that direction, then that's exactly what we want to stand. And our event's going to be an annual event. So this is our first ever Hair and Lifestyle Expo at Moani Waikiki, 2 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. It's going to be just a whole event of fun activities. We're going to see talent. You're going to see people competing. You're also going to see just businesses putting on for what they have, their product, their merchandise. And then also just the environment in the community. We're going to have Hopper Boy, DJ Hopper Boy is going to be spinning. So, of
Yeah.
course, that's always good vibes, always good energy. We have How's This Guy, Xavier Cummings. He's going to be our host and our MC. So he'll be doing what he does. He's just fun all around. So we're going to have so many things going on. And it's just going to be overall, we're just looking to have an amazing night with just good people over there.
Yep, I'll be there, man. That would be super cool. And
Guaranteed.
good luck on this event. And I already know, like, this is the first one of many. And like you said, in the future, it's going to be 1,000 vendors. It's going to be huge. It's not going to be at Moani. It's going to be at the convention center or Blaisdell. And bro,
Yeah.
you guys have no ceiling to what you can do, because like I said earlier, you're not afraid to bet on yourself and gamble and put the work behind it. I mean, it's easy to gamble on yourself, but if you ain't gonna put the work behind it, you're just gonna crap
Yeah.
out. Before
Yeah.
we've been going for an hour, but I have 2 questions for you before we go. What are your goals and where do you see yourself in the future? And like, where do you want to take not only your shop, but just your personal career?
Absolutely. So, what are my goals and where do we see ourselves going in the future as a business and personally? Honestly, one of our big goals right now is just to just keep running and investing into what we're doing. So we're doing a lot to put on for Hawaii, and that is our main mission. And so what that looks like is the only way we're going to do that is if we continue to invest into ourselves. And so I see for myself personally, I see myself just always constantly learning. And that's mentally, I just never want to get at a point where it feels like I'm comfortable or I'm good. And I get complacent at that point. Me personally, that's my biggest frustration point, is when I start to get comfortable. So I don't know there's a lot of things that I do that I don't necessarily realize is something creative or cool. It's just something that like keeps me busy. And so one of my big goals is honestly just to take our business to the next level. Of course, we want to grow and expand within our time frame here. But really personally, I want to be able to see my boys succeed and start to deliver on those goals that they set out for themselves. And I think what I've been learning now as I've been, just growing, getting older, and also just being in this position as a shop owner, one of my biggest fulfillments right now is just seeing my team succeed, and whatever that looks like, whether that's buying a new car or whether that's moving out, doing their own thing, or just having money in the bank, just having that peace of mind, that security, and being able to provide that for their families or kids. And so for me, my fulfillment is now coming through my team and seeing them, and just all I want to do is give them a platform that is always rising, is always increasing. I never wanted to get to a point where they feel like we're capped at where we're at, and this is as far as we're gonna go. So they know I'm always thinking like, okay, this is what we're doing now, like. So that's what I want to gatekeep, because I always share what we've done and because I know we're already heading somewhere else. So
Yeah.
I'm always to share what's worked for us and let them know what didn't work for us, and then hopefully that leads them other people to success. But within my personal team, they know for sure like we got big goals ahead of us and we're trying to accomplish big things. But I know me personally, I got to be able to maintain that. And so whatever that looks like on my end, it really just means like keeping that energy at an all-time high. That's my goal in life right now. It's just don't lose that energy. Keep pumping the pump, keep fueling the fire, do what I gotta do to keep that energy up.
That's nice. That's a good goals and views. Do you ever stop and take time? And I know some people don't because they're always looking forward, but do you ever stop and take time and look back and be like, bro, I accomplished this, and enjoy your success? And you ever think like, oh man, I did a lot. I'm very proud of what I've done, and it's okay to be proud of it. But do you ever stop and think about that kind of stuff?
It's a very interesting, just very interesting statement too, because I get that question a lot. And from the people that I respect the most and people that are closest to me, they always constantly tell me like, just take a time for yourself, take time for yourself to acknowledge and appreciate what you've done. Cause a lot of people are chasing after a goal, but they don't realize that your joy comes in the process of it, in the pursuit of the hunt, not the hunt.
Yeah.
It's in the pursuit of what you're doing. And so that's why I live my life based on fulfillment now, not goal to goal, but more so like am I fulfilled in what I'm currently doing to pursue that goal? And so if I ever feel like I deviate from that, then I always make sure I recollect myself and get back on path. Like if I feel like I'm at a point where I'm not happy and I don't feel like I'm doing the right thing, then that's my self-reflection where I'm like, yeah, this is not right. This something needs to change. But honestly, the only time I really look back and acknowledge like what I've accomplished is on my birthdays. I feel like so one day where you can be like, okay, like
Yeah.
especially if you accomplish a new age. I always look at it like when I turn when it's my birthday and I turn a new age, I'm always looking at, okay, what did I do with this past year? What did I do with at this age? What was I able to accomplish, and how can I take this to the next level this year coming up? So that's really the only time I give myself to like look back at what I've done, but I always make sure I'm fulfilled in the everyday of what we're doing. And
Oh,
it's
nice.
not that fulfillment doesn't mean you're not tired, you're not drained out, you're not burnt. Fulfillment is knowing that no matter if you're tired, burnt out, exhausted, that you can still go home and know that, man, like I'm doing a good thing. That's
Yeah.
where I'm living at right now.
Well, you should be
Yeah.
proud, man, because you've accomplished a lot. And like I said, you made it 1 year and you're not slowing down, and that's a big accomplishment in it of itself. My last question for you is, what would you tell the younger version or the up and coming kids that want to gamble on themselves or start um into your line of work or even starting a new business? What would your advice, or what would you tell them?
Absolutely. Oh man, the one thing I always look back is the biggest thing I can tell anybody that is in that pursuit or even just on the fence of like, is this something I should do? And what is this gonna cost me? I've always looked at it as like you gotta believe in yourself first before anybody. No one's gonna believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. Especially if you're coming from a younger demographic and you're trying to pursue something that mostly older people do. It's very hard to stand out in that environment unless you for sure know exactly deep within your heart that this is something that you're gonna do no matter what. I've always looked at it as like my business is either gonna succeed or I die. Like it's not like, oh, succeed or fail. Like it was always like, no, it's gonna succeed or I'm gonna die. Like this is life or death for me. And so with that mentality, yeah, it's that hustler's grind, but also that acknowledgement that you can't give up on yourself. You can't think for 1 second that like, dang, yeah, you're gonna have those thoughts that come up like, is this gonna work? Am I even doing this? Is this worth it? Like you gotta know at the end of the day, like you gotta do something about it. Like if I ever get in that situation, that mindset, the only way I can get out of it is to convince myself that I made the right decision and follow through. Because just as much, because people always say like, oh yeah, thank you to the haters. Like I don't have time to focus on the haters. I focus on the people that believe in me.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm a positive person. So like, yeah, so that might encourage that motivate people, but I've never looked at it like people have doubted me in the past, and I've always just loved on them. I've always said like, hey, bro, I love you, I respect you. That's totally fine. But I'm gonna love you from a distance because I'm doing this for the three people on my hand that have believed in me from the very
Yep.
beginning. And whether or not that I'm gonna do whatever I can within my ability, within my power to make sure that they're right and that they're able to say, I knew you could do it. I've
Yeah.
never done it for the guys that doubted me or the haters that said I'm making a mistake, you know. So yeah, I really believe that self-confidence and self-belief is something that you have to have going into any endeavor in life, any industry, especially in business. But that doesn't mean to be cocky. That just means just believe in yourself. You know, be able to look in the mirror and say, "You got this, man." Like no matter what, you got this. And that's what I would say as my one advice to someone coming into this industry.
That's awesome, bro. I definitely live by that. And I say this to people all the time, especially people close to me, as they, bro, you don't have to prove people wrong because they're
Mhm.
already thinking you're wrong and they don't believe in you. You just prove the ones that do believe in you that they were right and yourself. You know what I mean? You don't need to prove people wrong, prove people
Mhm.
right. Because that's the ones that believed in you from the beginning. And it's hard not to collect receipts and be like, ha, but
Yeah.
it's it's like you said, positive energy will always create positivity. Negative
Exactly.
energy doesn't create positive energy. But
Exactly.
I think you have a good handle on that mindset. And I'm sure you have bad days and you have great days, but if you keep the energy flowing in a positive direction, it'll always work out. And I think I'm excited to see how far you take this Aloha Together group, you and Ryan, because you guys share the same mentality and work ethic. And
Absolutely.
how can it not be successful? Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna do everything in our power to make sure that if not, it's like success to us is making sure that we follow through on what we said. And
Yep.
whether or not that means attendance or whether or not that means, buy-in, honestly, it just means that we did everything within our power to make this the most successful event that we could possibly have. And we're on the same platform, we're on the same level, same, like you said, same mindset, same ambition and drive. So I have no doubt in my mind that we're gonna make it happen. And we have an amazing support team. I honestly can't take I'm not taking any credit actually. My lady is the reason why I'm here right now smiling because there's a lot of things as a business owner and cutting hair behind a chair 5 days a week. It's there's a lot that I have to think about and do. And she is my support. She is my rock, and she's the reason why anything that we got moving forward is moving at all, let alone forward. Because
Yeah.
if not, man, there's my mind can go in all different directions, and I can get overwhelmed, anxious, and exhausted. But she's the one that keeps me rooted, and and Ryan can say the same thing. I know exactly that we look at our ladies not as other halves, but that's my warrior right there. That's my dog. That's someone that's
Yeah.
going to war with me. Like that's my partner in crime right there. That's not
Yeah.
my other half. Where 200 is coming together, one team. That's how we
That's
run. But
super
yeah,
awesome. I know
that's
that
our
feeling, man. Well,
that's
good luck on your event this weekend, and I'm gonna be there. And I'm excited to see how this thing goes, Brian. On social media, where can people find you, learn about you and your company?
Yep. So on social media, we're a lot together. On Instagram, we're also the Collective Barbershop on Instagram, and then TUDELA on Instagram as well. We're on TikTok as well. So we're gonna be any updates to our events and anything that comes up, or even just future events, we'll be posting to all of our social media platforms, all three of those. So a lot together group, and then the Collective Barbershop and TUDELA.
All right, on you guys not doing TikTok dances, are you?
No, no. Yeah, I used to always say, right, TikTok, yeah, you never catch me on there. But you know what, man, TikTok has been the biggest business marketing that we've ever had. It's actually
Really?
brought in more clientele than Yelp, Google. I always say, because I was always that guy that was like, right, you're not gonna catch me posting no videos, but man, yeah, I got to give credit to TikTok. It's been this past year. The only reason why we're in the position we're in now is because of the traction we've got on social media, but
Yeah.
mainly TikTok. Because Instagram is more a personal connect, but TikTok is kind of more worldwide and kind of
Okay.
where it's all over the place. So we got guys coming from Australia, from UK,
Wow.
from somewhere in Europe coming in for haircuts, and they're like, "Yeah, I've seen your video on TikTok." I was like, "Bro, that is so crazy!" Like. I was the very
Wow.
one that said you don't need that.
Shoot,
Yeah.
maybe I gotta get into that. I have a
Yeah.
TikTok account, and basically it's just so that I can look at my daughter's one and make sure she's not doing anything stupid.
Yeah,
I should
yeah,
jump on it. Yeah, I haven't posted one
yeah.
video on that thing yet. I literally
That's taking, yeah, that's taking clips, bro. Go crazy on there.
all right.
It's-
I'll have to start messing with it, bro. I got a lot of content I can repost already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
I encourage you. That's going to be the biggest exposure you can get right there.
Okay,
Easy.
I'll take that advice. See, that's something I learned tonight.
Thank you,
A-
brother.
And for us, it's the same on Instagram. It's Above the Bridge Podcast. Our YouTube channel, Above the Bridge Podcast, and our website is atbpod.com. And my personal Instagram is Thaddy Daddy Hi. Well, man, I love your energy. Obviously, I can tell why Ryan backed you, because you guys have that same kind of vibe. And bruh, like you said, sky's the limit. It's gonna be a kind of a fun ride, right? You're so young, and it's gonna be cool to see where you guys take this. And yeah, man, good luck on your event, and I will be there. And yeah, it should be cool. I'm
Right.
excited.
Thank you so much for your support and your belief in us, and just giving us this opportunity to share as well. We forever grateful. I'm very,
Automatic.
very grateful to be here, and thank you for doing this for the community too.
Yeah, automatic, man. And I'll definitely have you guys on. Maybe I'll have you and Ryan on together for the next event when it's bigger, and that'll be a
Yeah,
cool episode. You guys both can talk about it, and yeah, it'll be cool.
I'll guarantee we'll be down for that for sure.
All right, man. Well, shakas for the cameras.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. We're out. Shout out to the Artist Group Network. Aloha.